All right, guys, thank you for reaching back to the Real South Africa. We have a great interview. Actually, we got interviewed by Shop Black. They are a company based in the U.S. that talks about being able to shop black, and of course, they wanted to bring the information about the Real South Africa. So we have that interview in its entirety, and of course, we want you to like and subscribe to our channel. And of course, we got a picture montage of just some of the people, not only some of the people that trusted us to come to South Africa. So we wanted to put that little montage together for you as well. So stay with us and we'll see you on the inside. All right, guys, welcome to a montage of a lot of our guests that have come to South Africa with the Real South Africa. They all had a great experience while they were here. And I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to put everyone in because there are so many more people who have come to South Africa through our company who had a great experience. And a lot of those people have been back here 2, 3, and 4 times. We just kind of wanted to bring this to you because we was like, you know what? It's time to look back at some of the we've already put in and some of the dreams that we've made come true, because a lot of people's big thing was, I wanted to come to Africa or South Africa for the very first time. How do I do it? Well, they contacted us. We put together a program for those guys to come, and they got here and they had a great time. As you see, most people are having great smiles. They're probably having a nice little drinks in front of them. They probably have some good food, and of course had a great time, met some new friends, new people, people they probably would have never met before. A lot of them met a lot of South Africans, so their experience was absolutely over the top. And we appreciate the fact that people came with their families. They brought their children. Some people brought their mothers. Some people brought their significant others to have this experience. And I will say that there were those that were like, I'm not really feeling this South Africa thing until they got here. And then once they got here, they were like, wow, this was absolutely incredible. But keep in mind, this is just a small sample size of what we've actually brought to South Africa to have that experience. And we all should be having this type of experience. So with that also being said, keep in mind some of these people came from other countries as well. We have people from Haiti, we have people from the UK that showed up, those from other parts of the Caribbean and so forth. So, but without further ado, we really appreciate the fact that we did get interviewed. We want to bring that information to you, so that's coming up right now. But yes, we do have a lot of fun here in South Africa. You must know that, and you could be next. So we will see you here inside of sunny South Africa.
Hello, everyone. Today I'm joined by Mr. Mark Blanton, the owner of the Real South Africa. How are you doing today, Mark?
I'm good. I'm well.
Great to hear that. So tell us, what is the Real South Africa? What does your business do?
My business, we do a lot, but our main focus is trying to, educate, those that are in the diaspora about South Africa. I think there's a lot of bad information out there. And so what our company does is not only do we kind of, through our YouTube channel, The Real South Africa, we kind of show people this is what we do on a regular basis as African Americans here in South Africa. And then we also give you the opportunity to come here as a tourist and see it for yourself. So, a lot of times if you see it for yourself, then you're like, okay, this is different from what I've heard. And unfortunately, you guys are, 9,000 miles away in America. You guys have zero clue what happens here. So we just want to bring a little bit to the people so they can start having a connection point with Africa or the continent, and they can start feeling good about themselves because they get an opportunity to come to Africa. So that's what we do.
Awesome. And what inspired you to start the business?
That's interesting. I came on a trip myself. I came here. I used to be government worker a long, long, long time ago. I used to work for the U.S. Secret Service. And in 2010, Vice President Joe Biden came here on a trip, and I got to come, and it blew me away. I couldn't believe what I saw, from Black people in Africa. Keep in mind that I had been to several different nations in the Western world because of the job that I had, and then before that, I was U.S. Army, so I traveled there as well. But I came here and I was totally blown. So I was like, I want people to see this. So I got to form an apparatus. And since, we've been business people for a long time, it was just simple to just start a company that actually, does what we do.
And when did you move to South Africa? And what part of South Africa?
Okay, good. That's a good question. I physically moved here in 2018, not knowing that there was going to be COVID coming, but we came. And it was good. It was good. It was great. And keep in mind that my journey, and I say a journey because some people, they don't understand that. They think I just upped and moved one day. Actually, our journey started in 2010, 2011, and going all the way through. And we got very familiar. So I decided to ultimately say, okay, it makes more sense to be here, than to be there. And right now, I currently live in Johannesburg.
Johannesburg, okay, Joburg. And what do you enjoy the most about living in Johannesburg?
It's very metropolitan. It's very metropolitan. For one, is culturally is very rich. Most of the tribes that we have here in South Africa, from the Zulus to the Xhosas to the Songas, everyone, they all have a stakeholder here in Johannesburg. So you could just be anywhere and run into different people with different views because they have different cultures. Even though they're all Black, they have different cultures, and they're on full display here in Johannesburg.
And how would you describe the process of getting your business set up out there?
Say that again?
How would you describe the process of getting your business set up, like forming the business?
Well, actually, what we did was we formed it in the U.S. So we're a U.S. Company. We just happen to live here. So what we do is we get access to all the tourism mechanisms here in South Africa. They invite us to all the trade shows. We get to talk with the tourism bureaus, regardless if it's a provincial, which is a state bureau, or it could be a federal, which is like South Africa Tourism, and then of course several other tourism bureaus, to include all the very nice hotels, restaurants. They all work with us because they want the American market to start frequenting South Africa. So what we did was we just set it up as a LLC in the United States. But then since we came here and formed these relationships, it really helped us to be able to, find some of the best attractions, the best situations, so we can offer it to those in the diaspora, which is primarily North America and in the UK, and of course our Caribbean people. We take care of them as well.
Of course. So what can a customer or someone that signs up for your service, what can they expect?
I'm laughing because most of our people, when they come here, they really don't know what to expect. They see the videos and they're like, wow, that's nice. Well, I get that. Well, the answer is, what we do is everything that we offer, we actually go to these places. We go, we spend time, we've talked to the GMs, maybe the owners of the locations, and then we decide, okay, is this what an African American would want to do? For example, normally you have situations where people are saying, for example, the tourism bureaus, they think that we all want to go to the bush. And we do want to go to the bush, but we want to spend a day or so there, and then we want to move on to all the other nice things. They don't consider that tourism. For them, it's going to the bush. So we slant it to the point to where, yes, you're going to get that, but there are a lot of 4 or 5-star scenarios here in Johannesburg, from jazz clubs to some of the best restaurants to some of the hotels that just blow your mind away. That a lot of us will come and they'll be a little nervous about going in because it's really nice, and they don't realize that they belong in these situations. So we expose them to the culture and the couture here in South Africa. That is basically what they can expect.
Is there a large population of African Americans in Joburg or South Africa that you've noticed?
The answer to that question is I see Americans from time to time. And the answer to that question is no. Are there a lot of Europeans that come here as tourists? Yes. Are there a lot of Americans, white Americans per se, that come here as tourists? Yes. Do we have a lot of African Americans coming here as tourists? The answer to that question is no. So do we have a lot of people living here? We do have a lot of some Black Americans that have found their way here. A lot of them have maybe stopped in Ghana. I'm going to live here. I'm going to live in Tanzania, Rwanda, and then they found out, now they're on the continent. Now they're finding out more about South Africa and its infrastructure and all that it has. And then they end up coming down here and just planting roots, and then enjoying the rest of their life, because now they're like, I was told not to come to South Africa, but this was the place I should have been the whole time. And so there are some here, and I think that the numbers are increasing as far as the people that are deciding to reside here. Our company itself, we helped several people, relocate from the U.S. because we do have a small component of that as well. And they're buying homes and putting kids in school and the whole nine right here in South Africa.
So what does that service entail? What does the relocation process entail?
Well, what we try to do, obviously, we got to follow the rules of the, here we call it home affairs. In the States, we would call it immigrations. So there are several different visas that you may qualify for. And if you do qualify for a particular visa, we have a team of people that will assist you in getting it from point A to point B, because the verbiage is a little different. It could be a little challenging to how can I say? It could be a little challenging to get it completed. And what exactly do they want? Well, we got a team of people that can do that. For people. After that, the biggest part, and we tell everyone, you can't come here sight unseen. So what happens is people come here on a trip with us, and then, we take them around, we take them to the cultural places, we take them everywhere. And they're technically a tourist, but they're out and about. They're meeting people. It's not like we keep you in a bubble. You're out and about, and then you get comfortable with South Africa. And then that motivates you to do what you need to do. So then once you get here, you're looking at purchasing a home. We got teams of people that can assist you with renting a home or purchasing if you choose to do that, which right now the exchange rate is very favorable. It's 17-1, which is excellent. When I first got here, it was 9-1, and I thought I was balling out many years ago. So I'm happy with being here. And a lot of us that are African Americans that's been here, they really enjoy it. And then, of course, lastly, a lot of our people who come here as a tourist, they're like, you know what, I need to come back. And then they're gone a few months and they come back. And then a lot of them are looking at trying to relocate.
Interesting. And what, if any, like trends or changes in the perception about traveling to Africa have you noticed? Like, I know the people that come there are already like, okay, I'm sold, I'm coming back. But are you seeing that people who haven't been at all, like there's an increase in people who are interested in visiting for the first time?
Yes, across the board. I'm going to say it's a grassroots movement. There are other people that are on YouTube, and then there's a lot of people that are I guess they are not as infatuated with the US and the UK as much as they used to be, and they're looking for other options. And sometimes it's Europe, sometimes it's South America, Central America. But we found that, those that, let me give you an example. Somebody says, well, I'm going to go to Panama. They're Black there. And then they get there and they find out that they don't fit in any way. And of course, some people do love it and whatnot, but then they end up coming to Africa. And then they're like, this is what I've been looking for the whole time. And a lot of those people literally were trying everything in their power to avoid it. But then when you finally come and you get on that plane and you look around, and you would assume that you would have a bunch of other Black people making that decision as well. But the reality is you will see a bunch of white people on these planes flying all over Africa with no inhibitions whatsoever. They're not talking about crime. They're not talking about all this stuff. They just want to come enjoy this weather. They want to see the culture. And just being in Africa just changes everything. It changes everything. And so that's what I've noticed as far as trends are concerned.
Interesting. And for you personally, what was the biggest culture shock initially?
Well, I'm here in South Africa. There's not a lot of culture shock down here. A lot of the things you'll find in the States, you'll find here. I will also say to you that, how can I say it? A lot of all your US stuff you have, and then you also have your South African stuff. So culturally, you are expanding your horizons beyond what you already know. I'm gonna give you a good example. We had a family that came here and we took them to this little, a normal Sunday market. Everybody's there, had music and so forth. Kids were out. And they asked me, they said, is this like a Black, African festival or something? I'm like, no, this is just Sunday. This is just what we do. So I think people are culturally, for me, I think, I would have an anxiety true anxiety if they said, hey, Mark, you need to go back to the US for X, Y, and Z. But a lot of people come here and they don't miss a beat, and they end up adding to what they already know. Right. And then they go back to the States, and then they're like, that's where the cultural issues are, because they go back and they're like, man, I wish I was in South Africa. I'm missing it. So I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah. That's where most people are.
Interesting. And what are some of the most important factors to consider when moving to South Africa?
First of all, I think a lot of people have an idea of what it is from afar, like 9,000, 10,000 miles away. And then once they get here, they're going to be blown away. Most people don't know that. They're going to be just blown away. And then I think, how can I say it? I think people, once they get here, they don't, and then you don't want to go home. Most people don't want to go home. You're going to make friends, immediately once you get here. Everybody's going to call you, brother. If you're a sister, they're going to call you sissy. These are the things that happen down here. It's amazing, what's actually going on down here. Right. But a lot of us, we won't take the time to find out what's going on. Not just here, but in all parts of Africa. There are alcoves everywhere where you can go and not be concerned about being Black, be part of the majority, which some people may not feel it's a big deal. But the reality is, if you've never been in the majority before and felt it, then it might not mean nothing to you. But once you've done it, you're going to always want to be part of that majority all the time.
Yeah. So if someone is listening to this or watching this now, and they're like, okay, Mark, you know what? I'm sold. I want to move to South Africa. Just based on what you said in this interview, what checklist, what should they check off their boxes before they should start making that move or planning that trip?
Visit as much as you can before coming. Number 2, form a relationship with Africa. Keep in mind, you're not going to another smaller America or bigger America. You are leaving America. So I would say check your stuff at customs. Once you go through customs, you're not dumping out into America. You're actually going into Africa. So get to know what's going on, and doing that on the ground it's a completely different than honestly watching videos or even reading about it. You're going to have to come and visit. So I think that's one of the biggest checklists. And then I think lastly is that you're going to have to, you heard me say, leave your Americanness at customs. I mean, you still are an American. People will respect that, but you got to turn around and you got to respect the African cultures that you are in, meaning that you need to, I'm not going to say you got to learn all the languages and learn everything, but you at least got to respect the cultures that you're going to. You might see something that you say, wow, this is I don't want to be part of that. And you don't have to. However, there's a lot here that you want to be part of, just like in the United States.
Right.
Um, that's probably the biggest thing, is just come and see it for yourself, and you will be surprised how life-changing it is. Just coming here as a tourist anywhere on the continent. I represent South Africa. Our job, what we set our company up to do, is to expose African Americans to what's possible here in South Africa. And then once they have exposed themselves, then they can do whatever they want. We just had a young lady that was here just a few minutes ago who came through our company, and she moved here. She lives around the corner. And we were just talking about, she's from LA, and she's fairly new, so she's still talking about the differences between, the US and South Africa. But eventually that will fall off, because she's going to start being more, South Africa leaning, because she lives here. You talk to South Africans every day, you pick up the accent. It is what it is.
Gotcha. So in terms of your business, what is the ultimate goal? Where do you see your company in the next 5 years?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would like for it to be a scenario where it's mainstream. People are saying, okay, it's summertime. I need to take the kids to Africa, and then our company can sort that out for you. Be more mainstream, where people are looking at it as an option to travel places they've never traveled before.
Right.
And even the air is better here, the food is better here. To have those experiences, for us over the next 5 years to be able to offer that to our people, because we both know what we go through on a regular basis in the US.
Right.
And sometimes you just need a break. You just need to have a mental health break, and you just need to be around Black people. And Black people just don't mean African Americans. There are other Black people that think like you, feel like you, eat the same type of food you do, and so forth. So that's why we feel as over the next 5 years, if we can make this mainstream, and I can sit back one day as an older gentleman and say, you know what, this is nice to see a whole plane of African Americans getting off the plane here in OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg, coming to explore. That would be nice.
That's awesome. And you just mentioned something that reminded me about another question that I had, or a thought that's always on my mind, is the statement of, oh, Africans don't like African Americans. So I was literally in an Uber the other day, and the driver didn't know I was from Nigeria. And he was like, yeah, those Africans don't mess with us. So he and I had a nice, and literally it was a good conversation, because I asked him, like, why are you saying that? How many Africans do you know? Like, you don't know a billion Africans. Like, why do you have this, perception? So at the end of the day, it was a great conversation. He's a really cool guy. I'm sure it was, he got a lot of information for me as well. So when you hear things of that nature, like, what are your thoughts there about the whole, oh, they don't mess with us, we don't mess with them, that type of thing? What are your thoughts there?
I think a lot of that is I'm sure there's some personal experiences. All us Black people don't get along. Even Black people in the same family don't get along. So there's going to be scenarios like that. But what I find here is the fact that when I'm in the US, when I turn the TV on, I don't see any African television networks, and they make and produce a lot of great content. Some of this stuff you guys need to see. Like, obviously, let me go a little left for a little bit. Like, we have a show called Real Housewives of Johannesburg. And of course, y'all guys, we have the Real Housewives of Atlanta, New York. We got that franchise here. And so they know our culture. Like, for example, Black culture in the US, they know it cold because they see it all the time on TV. But do we know anything about their culture? I had a gentleman ask me one time, he says, do they teach them, which is the South Africans, Black culture? And I said, what do you mean? He was like, no, like, do they teach them like about Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman? Do they teach them stuff like that? And I said, this is a whole nother country. They have their own history to teach their own people. And they have, a plethora if not more people that fought in the freedom struggle and South African heroes that they need to continue to pass along, to their people. And so when you're talking Steve Biko or Chris Hani and things like that, which again just flew over most people in the U.S.'s head. These are giants down here. These are giants,
Yeah.
and very important people like Martin Luther King. But so yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks for sharing that. So where can people find out more about your company?
Okay, we have a very robust website where you can look at what's available, what trips that you can get on. You can actually if you decide that you want to come on a particular day, stay for 6 days, 10 days, 13 days, you'll find that on our website, which is therealsouthafrica.com. Very robust website. And then of course, if you want to, like for example, on that same website, we have testimonials. We've done probably hundreds of people that came and they decided that they wanted to do an interview with us, and we've recorded those interviews and put them on our YouTube channel, and of course you can find them on our website as well. But YouTube, The Real South Africa, you can go there, subscribe, and then of course we upload fairly regularly there. So those are like the two main places people find us.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time to chat, Mark. I appreciate it, and best of luck with everything with your business.
Thank you, and you as well, Shop Black.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.